Tackle in beautiful Carson, California, with my dear friend Sam de la Torre and our studio audience. We got a huge studio audience tonight.
Bustin'.
Good stuff. Good to see you,
man.
Sam. I can't believe how good you look, man. I would think you'd be just
thank you.
wiped out.
What are you fishing for?
Man, well, hey, I would think, man, I watched you going by there. I didn't get a chance to talk to you very much.
It's crazy, yeah.
In fact, we were going to do an interview with you, and I go, there's no way. Just go shoot some B-roll, and I can narrate over it.
Yeah.
Because you were busy, man. How was
It
the
was
show
good.
for you?
It was good. I mean, once again, I always feel like sometimes, we never know what it's going to be till you get there.
Yeah.
But it's like anything else. Like you go fishing trips, I mean, even though you've had some success on a certain trip, you go on a certain 8-day or whatever, and you think, man, like it's been good every year, but you just can't ever guess. So
That's right.
But once again, Bart Hall and his crew, they put together a show, and we did really good. I know that it's going to be something where people are going to have mixed reviews and mixed emotions and feelings about the show and how it's been and how it used to be and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
as far as what came through our register, as far as what came through in front of into our booth,
Yeah.
honestly, it was about the same as it's always been.
Really?
Like for 10 years, like forever. Even when the shows were big, we can call that maybe 10% difference 1 year up or down, but at the end of the day, it ends up being pretty dang close. So part of it too, maybe we've gotten better at it over the years,
Yeah.
and maybe back then we just didn't do as well as we could have. But honestly, we've done just about the same.
That's amazing. I mean, because there was some negative comments. I heard them, and I've been, but a lot of these negative comments are around choose one show or the other instead of what. I don't want to choose one or the other. They're both great.
Yeah. And, for us, I mean, granted, we're here to try to help people catch more fish and sell them the right fishing tackle. But to do that, we have to have some profits. We have to sell stuff. And for the people who we buy stuff from, Okuma, Shimano, Daiwa, we got to buy stuff from them so that they make money, and it's just the natural order of things, And so for us, if we're able to sell a certain amount of stuff, then it's a success. That's how I'm going to call it a success. I can always say that we could have done more. Or, there could have been more people. Or it could have been more seminars. It could have been more whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel like we did our part. We sold as much as we always do.
Yep.
Granted, if there would have been 10 more guys that did what we did, all the way up the line, like I said, through all the manufacturers and the reps and the salespeople and the, warehouse people and all the people that profit from us doing what we do, then that would have been better and bigger. But we did what we always do. We were as successful as we always have been. And so for me, I measure it as a success for myself, for my organization, for what we've been doing. But there's no doubt that you can measure it however you want, and you can say it was a good trip or not.
You want to spin it.
Yeah. I kind of equate it to people who go fishing and they only caught 200-pound bluefin because last week they were getting 200-pounders. So
exactly.
I think that sometimes we have to see it for what it is, and at the end of the day, you get to be around people that are like-minded. You get to talk to some people in the industry,
100%.
And stuff like that. And so to me, I just can't see that ever being a negative way to review that. So
the Kuma thing that was going on, that whole rod deal that you promoted here with us, and we promoted. You said you should walk down to the Kuma booth. I walked in there, man. Those guys all knew me, and it was weird. I mean, because you feel like
you don't have any history with them.
No.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, that works so good.
Yeah.
And I go, well, actually, Sam told me to stop by, and I just want to come down and see how it worked for you. And super happy, super nice, super cordial about the whole thing. So I was stoked to see that too.
Yeah, and it was funny the way that worked out. I mean, we kind of talked about the deal as it came through our my hands, and was announced to me. And so to me, I felt like we didn't really get a jump on it because everybody who was involved in it knew about it. Of course, we have a platform here a little bit, but it's big, and I'm proud of it, what we've done over the last couple of years. But we're not ABC News.
No.
So it is. To me, I don't feel like we had some type of competitive advantage.
Have we been doing this for a couple of years?
For sure, at least.
Oh my God.
At least 10
Frickin'
years.
time. Oh my God.
But
it only feels like 25.
Yeah, yeah. But that's one of the things that ended up happening, and it's happened with other things that we've done. There was a Mad Max thing, and then guys were coming in for the Mad Max thing. We were like the Mad Max depot, right?
Yes.
We did the jig back thing with the Nomad,
yes.
and we became the people who knew how to use those.
Yes.
It wasn't our product; it was just something we brought to light, know. And this Okuma thing was exactly the same. The guys at the Okuma booth that were redeeming the giveaway, so so the whole deal for you guys that didn't go to the show.
Thank you.
That are maybe are going to the next show, PCS show. What the deal was that Okuma was offering this special promotion in which when you bought a Okuma Makaira reel, sizes 15T to a 50, you'd buy the reel with us, and then you'd walk over to their booth, and you'd get a rail rod. And this was like a really, in my opinion, and I've talked to a couple people that have been involved with the shows for longer than I have, and in both of our opinions, this was like the best promotion ever that we've ever seen from a major manufacturer.
That's amazing.
Just as a dollar-wise promotion and a value to the product and how it matched. A lot of companies will give stuff away. They'll give, and sometimes it's cool stuff. Like they'll give a really nice jacket or a really nice whatever, but it's not always related directly with the item you're buying.
Yeah.
And so even though it's a good gesture and people really appreciate it, this was the first time that ever, because there's two parts. There's a rod and a reel. I guess the line is the other part, but there's a rod and a reel, and usually when you buy one, you got to buy the other.
Yeah.
Well, they're basically providing the other half of the project, and so that's something that we've never seen, and it was a half that was provided that matched the item at the same level. This is what they provide. Okuma makes this rod series to match with that reel.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll give a reel or a rod that doesn't really match with that reel. It's still a free rod, so there's value. It's
right.
free. You can't give.
But
this was an exact what you needed, right?
Right.
So, and not only what you needed, but this was a reel that, in my opinion, is the better selling big reel. I'm a big pen fan. I do fish pens myself. I have all the Torques, Internationals. I've been fishing them for years, since the days of Jig Masters and stuff. So I am a big pen fan, and that's what I fish a lot. But I do have Makairas, and I think they're very, very good reels. But as far as what we sell through the counter, the Makaira really is the number one big reel.
Is it?
We're talking big reels,
Yeah.
not everything, not a surface iron reel and things like that. But Okuma kind of is, in my opinion, kind of owns that market for Southern California. And so it's when a company has a product like that, they normally don't have to give away a whole lot.
Exactly.
They've already done their job. They're selling the reel.
Yeah.
And then in the rod, even more so, where there being so many premium rods, Southern California with CalStar, Seeker, United Composites, and then there's the big companies, Daiwa, Shimano. Everybody has a big rod. Now, in the rods that come below the U.S. manufacturers, your Seeker, CalStar, United Composites, then you get everybody else. You get your Shimano, your Daiwa, and your Okuma. And those rods kind of fall right under that, price-wise, and just kind of general, call it reputation, But from what I've seen in our store, and I think it's like this in other stores as well, the Okuma is at the top of that heap for sure.
Yeah.
And so here they're giving like the top reel and the top rod in that category, in a promotion, which that typically doesn't happen. Usually when a company does a promotion, they're not giving away their best stuff, you know?
Right.
And that's what Okuma did, and that's why it was so successful. I think it was 2 o'clock on Friday that they were all gone, and this was 50 of them.
And our over-under was 3 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Right?
So they were done by that time,
Yeah.
And so it was pretty amazing, I think it just goes to show, how well that promotion went. And it even took them by surprise as well. They weren't really sure. I think they were saying that over the 2 shows last year that they probably sold maybe 50 Makairas the whole show, which they didn't have any promotion for.
Yeah,
it was just,
right.
come and buy them. And so that's still pretty good. But, well, now they got 50 for this show, which we sold more than 50 because even after the rods run out, guys are still buying the reel because this is a popular reel.
Yeah.
It's the most popular big reel. Well, now they got 50 more rods that they're going to be that they kind of held back for the next show. If they would have held them all for this show, say, just bring them down, we'll sell what we sell. There's a chance we would have sold all 100.
I bet.
I bet we would have.
Yeah.
I think once the news was out that they were gone, I think it definitely slowed down on the Macauers because now people felt like, well, now I got to wait for the next show.
Right, and I'll go early and get them.
And go early and get them,
Yeah.
And so I know that Okuma, in fact, today was going to be kind of getting together and talking about, well, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Because, at first it was a great promotion where like, man, we knocked it out of the park. I can't believe it. It was so successful. Well, now it's turning into a thing. It's like, well, how do we make everybody happy? Because now you're going to have a situation in which people are going to go maybe even the first day and potentially not be able to get the promotion, which part of a promotion is you reach a broad audience.
Yes.
You want to get everybody to come in. But if everybody gets, if the promotion ends in an hour, well, there went your whole show,
That's exactly
so
right.
That's something they don't want to happen. So they're not really sure what they're going to do, if they're going to try to ration it out or what, but they had already kind of budgeted for what they thought would be enough, 100.
Yeah.
They figured, okay, you know what, that should last us for 2 shows. Maybe we'll run out on Saturday afternoon at the second show, but everyone had a chance by then,
Yeah.
But
Not the case.
Not the case,
No.
So, I was telling some
We
customers.
could kind of feel that from the response we were getting here.
Yeah.
Because that's why we put the over-under at 3 o'clock on Friday.
And even customers in the store, you know, I was like, hey, you better get there. You better get there on Thursday, and that's what happened. They ran to the booth, and so it was funny that even, not that I feel bad about it because we ended up benefiting from it, but, guys went straight to the Okuma booth and said, I want the Island Tackle deal. And they're like, well, what do you mean? What's the Island Tackle deal? We're like, we have these deals here. I don't know, they might have a special deal. They're like, no, the rod and reel. They're like, oh, yeah, they're right there. You buy the reel and come back and get the rod.
Yeah.
But people were calling it the Island Fishing Tqckle deal because we talked about it on the show, you know? And so, it's something that we ended up really benefiting from talking about it. But I don't know. I was so excited about it, thinking it was such a great promotion that I just couldn't help but to get people excited about it.
And I agree.
That's part of our job too, is to get people excited about fishing and buying stuff and whatever, all that kind of stuff. And this one was easy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I came down
easy.
before we did Tackle Shop Confessions, and then I was kind of a little bit distracted, and you were talking about it, and then you said, and you get this rod, and I go, what?
Yeah.
Say that again? Really?
That's right.
I couldn't believe it. And,
and it was a nice rod. I mean, it's so cool, man. So, I mean, so that was one part of the show. I'm, really, really thankful to Okuma for really stepping up and doing something like that, we actually even had a really good deal on some tackle roller bags, which is kind of the new tackle bag of the day. Back in the day, we used to have wooden boxes and things like that. Well, this roller bag is kind of the new, old wooden box. It's kind of the carry-all. But, man, we sold a bunch of those. I think we ended up selling, 40 or something like that of those, And so that was pretty cool. And once again, Okuma kind of backed us on that deal as well by providing them, bringing them for us, setting them up and all that kind of stuff, giving the signage and things like that. So that was really cool. So, I'd like to just kind of personally say thank you to those guys. And they were really, really good to us. And I feel like we did, in response, we really kind of like promoted it and it worked out.
Yeah.
So,
And you're going to hear whatever they come up with for the next show, and we'll talk about it here again.
Yeah. It's an ongoing thing. I'm sure, one of the things I was telling the Okuma guys, and we'll see, is that, these other companies are going to have to step it up, to be honest with you, because if Okuma somehow comes out with something, let's just say they come out with another 150 rods, I don't know, some kind of deal, which I'm not saying that's what they're doing because I don't know anything, but at this point I feel like they got to do something.
Yeah.
It's going to make it tough on those other guys.
Yeah.
It's going to make it really tough. That's a really great promotion. I really think that's something that I hope those other guys come up with something, and if they do, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Yeah. So the show, I spent a lot of time with Bart and Jenny. I was shooting photos for them and video. I emceed the ladies thing, and they pour their heart and soul into that. So they do the best they can. Let's put it that way.
For sure. There's a lot of things behind the, behind the scenes that people don't know about, and they had a lot going on, with the previous investors kind of
backing out
the last minute. Yeah, man. So. It's one of those things where they got promised like they were going to get help moving their house, and all of a sudden. The day before, they're like, man, I broke my foot. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, the movers are not going to help you. Yeah.
So it was crazy.
So, and I've already talked to them. They're going to plan for next year. Next year, they're already dedicated to making the show bigger and better next year for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, we're able to kind of keep making it better. I think that, we all have ideas and things that would work. I mean, I was talking to some of the manufacturers that were at this show and about some ideas that we might, kind of come up with and to help, just make the show better.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's not really about trying to make more money, but trying to make a better experience, which in turn hopefully will make more money.
Yeah.
But really, you got to make that experience something that is inviting, for families and things like that. And so I think that if we're able to do some stuff like that, I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Want me to read a couple comments?
Let's
We got a whole bunch already, man. Up over 100 viewers, pretty much. David Rosenthal. We love you, David. He says, good evening, gents. David won a rod here in the raffle here recently. And Robert Graber gives his best name. Kim Herbert says, Sam, would you recommend the Horizon trip to Cedros? Several days as the mothership and fishing on the Pangas.
Sure. I don't see why not. I mean, it's a different trip. I wouldn't recommend it as a replacement for the fly down trips. I think the fly down trips are really more of a Cedros centric type thing. I think that this Horizon thing is going to be a little bit more of a kind of a halfway long range trip with a little bit of Cedros mixed in. Even though for a lot of people that's going to be the only way that they can do Cedros. Maybe they don't want to fly down or that kind of thing, which is understandable. I mean, once you get down there, from what I understand, you're fishing the same pangas as we would if we were to go down with Rosie. So that part of it is the same. But you have travel days. It's a whole day and a half down there and a whole day and a half down and back. I understand he's going to try to do some fishing there and back, but I don't think that's going to be a major thing. If they start catching tuna, they're going to have to drive back, kind of like just drive past them. They'll probably catch a couple, but they can't stop for 2 days.
No, they get a straight line down there.
They got to get down there and on the way back too. So I think it's definitely going to be a good option, especially if you just are not, maybe can't get down to do the airplane thing or not, or if this is maybe not your thing, So I think it'll be like half of a long range trip and half of a Cedros trip, but that's pretty cool. So yeah, I would recommend it. I mean, as far as that, I think one of the other things that you might be able to get differently is maybe, I know because he's from out of town, is you get back to San Diego and maybe get your fish shipped back. I guess unless you're driving. I know he drives out here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kim does, yeah. So, so stuff like that. They offer fish cleaning on the island too, so maybe that wouldn't be that much of a difference. But you might get some other things along the way, like I said, some tuna and things like that, depending on time of year. Possibly even troll up a wahoo if it's a warm water year. Doesn't seem like it's like it this year, but we'll see. Maybe catch an albacore on the way back. Or something.
I'm already getting crap about that. I'm going to speak at the KC Anglers on Thursday night. The first comment that went up was, "You were the albacore."
Yeah.
So, one thing on this Horizon thing that dawns on me is you probably bring back more fish that way, right?
Yeah. I would say for sure. You're definitely going to have a lot more, room for fish for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good. And by the way, I haven't interacted with Rosie that much, but I am seed that thing. Mm-hmm. What an accomplished, hardworking business person, great speaker.
Yeah.
I mean, all those ladies were great, but Rosie was, you were talking about her. She was fantastic, man. I can see why so many people love
Rosie's almost like if you were to consider somebody like a, Randy Toussaint, Tim Ekstrom, those people that have been in the industry that, we know them as captains of a boat and things like that, and guys that, you instantly look at and this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
He's proven himself, just by showing up. She's kind of like that on the other side. She
really
was
is.
Involved with the processing for so many years, involved down with the boats for so many years, and now with the Cedros thing, she's had to deal with so much of what it takes logistically to make a trip successful that at this point, she makes it look easy for sure.
She's got it dialed in.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was, through a lot of effort on her part to kind of get that stuff figured out. And so, now when she's talking to you about it, it's smooth and easy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, there you go, Kim. Great question. Robert Graber, good evening, Phil, Sam, and the Friedman Adventures family. Robert, it was good seeing you and Dan Hernandez. I went by and said hi to Dan. Happy Tackle Shop Confessions. Thanks for the great deals at the show, Sam.
You got it.
Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Fishing Rods, or the president of the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club. You can take your pick. Chuck said, one thing about the show this year that was nice was not having to climb over people to get to the vendors. It was nice to talk to the fishing experts with no stress. You had some time to do that. So
Yeah.
I guess that's one benefit to, not huge crowds, right?
Yeah, and Chuck, thank you very much. He actually stuck around at the end of the show and helped us break down a little bit.
That doesn't surprise
Chuck
me.
and
He's
Charlie,
a great
man,
person.
super nice guy.
And Chuck is taking care of me on Valentine's Day because he's making my wife Ruth a beautiful cup with the Costa Rican and United States flag.
Wow.
She's going to friggin' love that.
That's cool.
Can tell you that right now. Because I bought her a sweatshirt with the Costa Rican and she went nuts. So, Chuck, you're the man. We love you. Halibut man, Mitchell. We love Mitchell. Say hi to Mitchell.
What's up, Mitchell?
Hey, Mitchell, good to see you. This is the Reel, REEL, news channel I love. Mitchell, we'll see you on Super Bowl Sunday for our surf fishing thing. Really, really appreciate that. And Carlos G says, you guys are better than ABC News.
That was that comment I made about us not being worth anything.
Hello, Phil and Sam. You guys rock. Carlos, thank you so much for being here. David Alcantara. I think David won something in our raffle here recently, didn't he? Yeah, I think he was one of the guys.
I wasn't part of that.
I don't know.
I just drew the ticket.
I have 3 Makairas, and they have never, ever failed me. Other high-dollar reels that will go unnamed have failed me under similar circumstances. David loves them.
Solid. They're solid reels.
Yep. Rick L., I picked up my Makaira 20 from Sam and Island Fishing Tqckle at the show. I had a great time. Thanks for all you do for the fishing community. So there's another guy had a really good time. Man. Sam, part of it is, and you referenced it, it's your attitude when you walk in the door. If you're looking to pick the thing apart and be negative, you can do that here. You can do that watching this.
Driving home, whatever,
Yeah, if you go in there and, hey, man, I walked in there and saw this bum, Dan Lightfoot. I saw a bunch of other guys I knew. I got to meet kids, especially kids. When a dad would come up to me and go, my son watches the morning brief and he'd really like to meet you. And the kid's like, oh, how are you? Hey, I'd open my backpack and say, I only have this, but here's a hat and that's cool, man.
And that's the one thing too, to all you guys out there, I really do appreciate, we had, just like last year, where I think last year was like our first show after we had been doing the Taco Shop Confessions, last year's show. And I was just blown away by people's, just coming up to us and saying, man, I watched the show. I love it. I watch your videos. I'm like, man, that's so awesome. And this year was no different. The whole show, every single day, we had guys coming up and say, man, just keep doing the videos. I love them. Thanks for what you do. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty awesome. To me, I feel like, I'm just up here having fun, screwing around,
Me too.
So,
exactly.
I'm not really putting a whole lot of effort.
People like it.
Yeah, I'm not really like doing a whole lot, to be honest with you, just talking, But I really thank all you guys that watch, all the viewers and just the recognition. It's pretty awesome.
I second that, everybody. Awesome. Over 100 people watching right now. What was I watching the other day? Some huge, I don't know what it was, like ABC News or something, and they had 122 people watching when I first tuned in. I go, crap, we get that on Tackle Shop Confessions. I can't believe this. But part of it is you look out there like right now, and you kind of sometimes don't feel like there's anybody. Yeah. And then you walk out, and then, God, they're
there,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Thank you, everybody. I second what Sam said about that. Hook and Cook. How much is the 30 not at the show?
Wow, that one was, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think those run around $629, I believe. If I had to guess, $629. And then the mahi colored ones, the Dorado colored ones, those are $100 more. Yeah. In every size. So you had $100 to the price for that color. And we sold a bunch of those too. That was another one where we weren't sharing. So Okuma, they said, well, I'll tell you what, take some of these. We had ordered maybe 15 or 20 of them, which is a lot. And they say, well, why don't you take a couple more just in case, and if you don't sell them, we'll just pick them up. And I said, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. And man, we sold a bunch of them. That mahi, because I was thinking $100. It's already an expensive reel. Yeah, we're giving a discount, but it's $100 is $100. And I was blown away how many people were buying those reels. Yeah. And we actually ran out of some of the sizes, so we'll see what we're able to get. I think that we're going to go down there and just take what we have left. Yeah. But I know we're going to get asked for. Oh, you got this? You got? Oh man, sorry, it was Long Beach show was gone, man. Yeah.
That's a good reason to go to the Long Beach show.
Yeah, especially if you want some real specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Limited.
I have some sad news. I don't like to normally bring a downer to the show, but did you know that SoCal Chicken Wings is closed tonight again? And look at this little boy. It's closed.
I wonder why.
Yeah, what's going on over there?
They said only Mondays.
What? Oh, yeah. They know that Michael's coming. Close it down. Chuck Zimmer, put your comments here on what you guys want on the next Tackle Shop Confessions on February 24th. I've got some nice blanks from Sam. Is he talking about the raffle?
I don't know.
I think you're talking about the raffle. When are we doing that? February 24th, I guess. Is that when we're doing it, Chuck?
Is it gonna be
Let us know. It sounds like it. Chuck's the man.
Chuck's putting it on, huh?
Yeah. I'm a spectator. Dad's cool?
Dad's cool.
Dad's cool. I'm going to screw that up.
That was the other funny one, too. I had about 4 guys say, well, I'm the guy that you always have to fix what he says. This just reminded me of that right there.
No kidding. Fix what I say. And if there's any blanks with too many numbers, I'm not reading it. All right. Good evening, gentlemen. I've heard nothing but good things about the CalStar 90J. Let's wait for Sam. And while we wait for Sam, I will tell you that Super Bowl Sunday, we're all going to meet down at Surfside, California, where I do the morning briefing every morning for a surf fishing event. Michael Lebo will be there. Grandpa will be there. A whole host of characters. And whether you like to fish, which I assume you do, or not, you can come down, bring your chair, kick back, watch the beautiful Eastern Pacific with us, and maybe catch a fish. And I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, but we're doing this from 6:30 to 9:30 a.m., 6 hours before kickoff. It will be done. And I should do my handicapping for this big game because, man, I have some opinions. Even though I'm not a big pro football fan, I'm a college guy, watch my football on Saturdays for the most part. You got the Eagles with a better roster, I think, and then you've got that intangible stuff that the Chiefs bring in there. So it should be a great game. But needless to say, we will see you there. And then this Thursday night at 7 o'clock, I'll be at KC Anglers. They invited me over to speak. Obviously, they were desperate, so they called me. And I said, sure, I would love to. So I'll be over there. You go to Friedman Adventures on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you can see the details on that this Thursday night. All right.
So before
yes, sir.
So the call.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to have somebody at the phone while we're talking about products. So the guy,
you got a call off the show?
Yeah. So it was Hook and Cook, Brandon. He says, okay, I want to buy that reel. I said, oh man, well let me give you a call back on a little bit. So yeah, maybe the next time we'll start developing something. We'll sell stuff. It'll be like what do they call that? A late night infomercial? Not an infomercial. What do they call that? Like a QTV type of thing.
Totally, right?
We'll start doing that
until 3 o'clock in the morning. He'll never get another chicken wing. We're gonna have to start it. Hey, remember when we were doing this and people were sending us food all the time?
I know.
What's wrong with you people? Come on, we're hungry tonight. Yeah, good stuff, man. That's funny.
Yeah. We'll do that flex tape commercial or something like that. You remember that flex tape guy?
Yeah. This is too funny, man. All right. So, good evening, gentlemen. I've heard nothing but good things about the CalStar 90J. Do they make it with a real seat? Everything I've seen has been a deckhand style rod.
Yeah.
And maybe you can talk about what a deckhand style rod is.
Yeah. So, for you guys that don't know what that means, it's basically a rod with no reel seat. It'll either have a cork tape handle or cord or something like that, but you have to clamp the reel onto the rod. And that's kind of like a quote-unquote old school thing. You don't really see a whole lot of rods like that, mostly jig sticks and things like that. And one of the reasons that you would want that is that depending on the length of your arms or maybe just your casting style, you're going to move the reel up or down in position, and then that's going to be to give you that kind of a little more leverage for casting, or maybe you'll move it down to give you a little bit more leverage for fighting the fish. So it's a kind of a way to customize your rod on the spot. But as far as the 90J, CalStar doesn't offer that 90J with a reel seat. The reason being is that the diameter of the rod down at the bottom is really too big for a reel seat. There are some reel seats out there that are made for it, but it's kind of a big seat. And what it's going to end up happening is that reel seat will be so big around that if you want to clamp your reel, some of the reels, the post between the clamp won't go around it. So it is something that you probably would have to get custom made to have something like that. But as of right now, CalStar doesn't make any of their models. In fact, they make, well, several 90Js. They have the Glass 90J, the GG 90J, the 90J Mag, and then they also have the Graphite 90J. The Graphite 90J would probably be the smallest diameter version of them all, and that probably would take a decently sized reel seat. But as of right now, it's not something that they offer with a reel seat. But if you wanted to have something like that made, you definitely could. There's a lot of guys who make custom rods, depending on where you're at. If you can post where you're at, maybe I can recommend somebody in your area that can help you with that.
All right, Dad's cool. Thank you very, very much. Tony Gonzalez says, good evening, guys. Good evening, Tony. Sam, will you have the Macairas and Dorado pattern at PCS?
For sure. I mean, everything we have left here. I mean, I would say we started off with, I don't know, 40 or so of those Macairas in the Dorado color. And I think we've probably got 20 of them now. We probably sold half of them there. We got some more coming in. I believe we're going to try to get some more coming in. And so that's going to be something that we'll see. But at the moment, for the first day, just like the last show, the first day we should have pretty much a whole spread of them. But come Saturday and Sunday, I couldn't guarantee that we're going to have all the sizes. I'm sure there'll be one for you to look at least, but as far as if you're looking for a particular size, especially that very popular size 16, which is kind of like the sweet size, only because it's the smallest reel that you can really expect to catch a fish over 200 pounds. That's probably one of the more popular sizes. But I know that one we have a couple. The one that we ran out of was the 15T. And we got a few more coming in, I believe. But once again, those are going to go quick. And, if somebody comes in between now, I mean, Hook and Cook just ordered the 30.
Yeah, that's funny,
that's
man.
one more down there. We're still going to be selling and be, open for business here between now and the show. So, but we'll take down what we have.
Tons of people jumping on here, 105 plus people watching right now. That is fantastic. By the way, this guy has got to be running on empty, and I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Way to go, Sam. That's great stuff. Real Time says, hi, guys. Real Time, thanks for joining us. I really enjoyed the Bart Hall show. The seminars are great, but locating them in the convention center has been difficult for years. I'd like to see a large ceiling sign over the stage. That's probably one of the things that could improve the experience.
Yeah, that is one of the things we talked about, too, is that the layout was definitely maybe a little harder to find a few things, that we had guys coming up to us and say, well, where's this and where's that? And obviously we knew where it was because we had been setting them for a couple of days already. But I agree with that. There's probably a couple of things that could have been moved around a little bit differently to where some of those types of things would have been easier to find.
Real Time, thank you very much. Rick L. Hey, Rick, how are you, my friend? I went with 4 buddies to the show on Thursday. We all got Macaira 20s. The only bummer was I couldn't buy a left-handed Abbott reel at the show.
Yeah, sorry. I know we had a few guys come up and ask us for that. We're going to go through our inventory, and we're going to make sure we take a few of them to the next show. But also, too, I'm going to make sure I have them here kind of ready to show, because I think I'm going to have some guys coming through the next couple of days asking for those left-handed reels.
Nick Ramirez. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Yeah, Nick Ramirez. Do you know Nick?
Yeah.
He's a super good guy.
Yeah.
Nick's a Patreon member. He's just such a great guy. He was recently on the Spitfire. He had 5 sculpin and 10 whitefish. How's that for a memory? Phew. Yeah. And he's watching from Hawthorne, California. Nick, great to have you with us. The Taxman, Tim Marquez, is here with us. What's up, fellas? A little bit late, Tim. Better late than never. And Nick Ramirez said, I should be at the surf fishing event with you guys next Sunday. Dan, you hear that? You might have to pick Nick up. He's coming to the surf fishing event. Nick.
I already told him I'll pick him up.
That'll be awesome. We love that. Kim Herbert, who's watching from beautiful Missouri, the Show Me State. Thanks, Sam. Being out of state, I miss out on the longer multi-day trips. It seems like a viable alternative shot. I have to shuffle air flight, San Diego housing, and finances. Time is running out fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I think, we were talking about. Who was I talking about? I was talking to somebody about that at the show, and, all the different experiences that we have available to us, whether it's Baja, Loreto, Cabo, San Quintin, all that kind of stuff. But the long range thing is really one of those things that is so special to us, because it's something that only we have. You can't go to any place in the world and get what we have here. And so definitely, if you haven't done it, you have to do it. And I think once you do it once, you'll figure out a way to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, just every single thing, down to the smallest detail.
Oh, yeah.
The captain being personable and nice. I mean, we've all been on the half day boat where, you don't get that, man. I met Tim Ekstrom up in the parking lot with Diego. I was giving Diego stuff to take to Mexico. And he's just the same guy. I hadn't seen him for a while. I fished with him on that boat in Panama. And same, Phil, what are you, whoa, you're sending this to Mexico? That is so cool. And just such a nice guy, such a capable captain. The food, everything on every one of those boats, right? Pretty much all the boats.
Yeah.
We have our favorites, but you pretty much are going to get the same experience.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that they've done. So many parts that go into it, from the office to the bait.
Yes.
So international, logistics and paperwork and all that kind of stuff to take us to places where really no one else in the world really gets to go.
That's right.
Alejos Rocks, Hurricane Bank,
so
places
remote.
like that. Yeah, you know, and for them it's just a day in the park. They do it all the time, all year long. But as a fisherman, it's pretty dang special. You get to go to these places.
Absolutely, 100%. And Hook and Cook says, "Thank you, brothers."
You got it.
Took that phone call from him. Good evening, gentlemen, from Isaac. Dezung Duong says, "Hi, Sam and Phil. It was good to see you both at the Hall Show. Sam, it was good to see you, by the way, my friend. Sam, I bought the Tranks 400 reel from you for Cedros bass fishing. What pound test braid should I put on that reel? I forgot to ask you."
Yeah, 65 pound. Yeah. He bought a rod and reel, I think.
He's such a cool guy.
Yeah, he's fired up and ready to go this year. So 65 pound. Nothing really specific as far as a brand or nothing like that. I would recommend white, but Power Pro, J-Braid, Iserline, any of those major brands would be good in 65 pound.
I watched him catch a giant bluefin tuna on the Apollo on one of our trips.
Nice.
And man, just like hanging out with him in the galley, can't find a nicer person.
Yeah,
man.
he's like
great.
Truly the guy who is just, he understands how special it is to go.
Yes.
And he appreciates it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And he shares that with everybody.
Yeah.
He wants to
Yeah.
include everybody. So thank you very much. The Taxman Tim Marquez. And day before Super Bowl, come down to Cabrillo Beach and try out ocean canoe paddling on a 6-man canoe for free. That's on February 8th, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. In fact, we did a little podcast on that already. I'll repost that tomorrow, Tim, on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok so that everybody can see it again. But yeah,
that sounds like fun.
Dan wants to do that, actually. He's been talking about doing that for a while. Tim, thanks for the reminder on that.
It could be a 5-man and a Dan.
Yeah. I like that. Michael Emo might do it, right?
There you
Michael?
go.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're talking about. Dad's cool. Thanks for all the info on the 90. Jay, I'm in Oceanside. All right, thank you so much. Mackie, you asked where Mackie is. Here he is. Did someone say left-handed reels? Robert Graber says, hit that like button. Please hit that like button. 103 people watching right now. Thanks, everybody. Sam and I deeply appreciate it. Robert Slagers, did you know of sable fish trips? Years ago, they used to call them trash fish. Now they're a delicacy. Some call them black cod. A lot of people call them that. I do remember them being trash. I remember going out like, we caught one of those crappy sables. Yeah. But now, man, top dollar.
Well, I mean, what is that, 30 years ago or something like that? Those things kind of moved into the shallow water, and they were kind of everywhere. It's kind of like when, we had lizardfish, those couple years where those things were kind of everywhere. Everywhere you fish, you'd catch lizard. Like all of a sudden, I had never seen a lizardfish, and all of a sudden, everywhere you went, there was a bunch of those things, and that's how that sable fish that one year was. Just came into the shallow water for whatever reason, and we just kind of let's just move. Let's go somewhere else. That's all we're going to catch is these damn black cod.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned on Danny Kadota Show today, I know a guy who tells me and has shown me the photos. We got to go. Who said you can go 45 minutes from 22nd Street and catch wide open in the not real shallow water, but I think he was saying 180, 200 feet of water.
That'd be pretty crazy.
I'd like to see that, man. You know who I'm talking about. I've seen you in the comment section tonight. I'm not saying any more. I'm sworn to secrecy. Arturo Jacinto says, Orale. What's that about? What's the orale about?
He's hoo-hooing the show, man.
Woo! Thank you, Arturo. Mil gracias, hermano. Spastic D. I don't think we've seen him for a long time.
Been a little bit, yeah.
He's been hiding out. Great deals at the show. Sam got a $8.75. This is okay. I can do this. $8.75 extra heavy blank for my Macaira 15.
Good one.
I'll be looking for a 90J. Hopefully you'll have it at the PCS show.
I'm pretty sure we will. I think we did have some at this last show, but maybe he was looking for one in like the tan color, or maybe we had the tan and didn't have the black or something. But I feel like we did have some. If not, I know we got some coming in for sure.
All right, very good. Worm King swim baits, Pro Staff, Worm King Pro Staff will be there on Sunday surf fishing.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic. We can't wait for that. That is going to be a fun day. Weather looks good. I don't see any wind. I don't see any rain. Looks like we're going to have a little rain from Wednesday through Friday, but things are looking good. By the way, the halibut bite on the Native Sun continuing along. There was a 35-pounder caught the other day.
Ooh, nice one.
That was a nice one.
What's the biggest so far?
I think that's it.
That's
yeah,
it, huh?
35 and some change.
That's pretty big, man.
That's a big one, man. I still think they're going to get one in the 40s before this is all over. And what else? Long range guys, just throw a little fishing info out there. They've had really inclement weather, windy, rough. Calmed down yesterday, and they all started catching cows.
Man, that Indy trip, I've been following it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it seems like they've been catching big fish for like 2 weeks already. So how long is that trip?
I know.
It's like a 30-day trip or something like that. Seems like it. I'm like, oh, it's the same guys, So, oh my God, it's like a week later. He's like, oh, you got another one.
That one guy, Soda Pop. His name's David Rouse. He's on his second back-to-back 16
That's right.
days.
That's right. Maybe that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, you might be saying he's 32 straight days on that rig, man. Good for him. Hey, Gio Alba. What's up, fellas? What's up, Gio? I bought some good stuff from the show, but I heard Sam was in competition with the Sands booth on who can sell more reels. I'm wondering who won.
I don't know. I know
no competition.
I know we sold a lot. I'm sure they did too, But I mean, part of that too. Sometimes the way it kind of boils down is, we'll sell a bunch of these models. They sell a bunch of those models, and when guys go down to the show, typically, they go down to see the shop that they know. So their guys go over there, and our guys come over here, and things like that, and we're close enough that I'm pretty sure we go back and forth. But there's a bunch of stuff that we had that they didn't have, and a bunch of stuff that they had that we didn't have. So. I think we both did pretty good. I would imagine they had a good show too.
Yeah, very good. All right. Chuck Zimmer, you had a 90J in tan and black. I bought one on Sunday.
That's what I thought. I thought we had some, but maybe when Spastic D got there, the guys hit them all or something.
Maybe, yeah. Hey, David says, met you on the beach today. Hey, David, good to see you again, my friend.
Or maybe what he meant is that he bought the one blank then, and saving up for the next blank for the next show.
Maybe.
That's what it was.
And I put together a little lure package for the biggest fish in the surf on Sunday. David, that is so cool. He's pouring some cool little baits that he's making. Met him down there this morning. He came walking. In fact, he's on the morning briefing. So,
I wonder what I'm going to win.
Yeah. We got a ringer here, man. A ringer. Well, we've got another ringer, Mitchell, halibut man. That guy fishes hard and is very good. David, we'll see you again on Sunday, my friend. Thanks, Sam, Michael, Limon, Lightfoot, Mackie, Isaac, Fish, and everyone for a great show. Oh, and Phil, thank you, too. Yeah, don't leave me out. You'll hurt my feelings. My God, what's wrong? You know what? We are down to, we could let you, I feel like ending the show early today. Yeah, exactly. I know you're beat. Hey, if you got a last-minute question, fire it in here. Otherwise, we're going to call it. Look, he's getting excited, man. He wants to try the doghouse tonight. Sam, are the prices going up with the Trump tariff war? Michael, don't even touch that off button yet. We're not
Tony,
finished.
It's definitely a yes and no, kind of answer. Some of the companies, first of all, tariffs aren't new. It isn't like they're getting invented this year.
Right.
And it's something that, has never been a form of revenue for the government. They've had tariffs that have been around since the beginning of time, really. In this case, the bigger companies like your Shimano, your Daiwa, Okuma, they already have factories in multiple parts of the world.
Yes.
And so, and the reason that they have that is probably because of tariffs and maybe even just the way to get things made, for a better price. Whether they make some things in one place and things in another, things like that.
So in other words, if China gets hit with tariffs, they're got a place in Vietnam too,
or somewhere,
yeah,
wherever,
right, right.
And so, back in the day, we used to, we've gone through all this, where, in the 70s, if something was made in Japan, it was kind of like junk, it's like, oh, it's no good. And now if something's made in Japan, it's like, oh, it's the best thing ever, right?
Yeah, right.
So now you'll see a lot of reels, and sometimes I'll have customers come in and they want to buy a Shimano reel, and they look on the bottom of the foot and they say, oh, this thing's made, it's not made in Japan, it must be junk, It's like, well, we used to say that about Japan too, So I think that you have to kind of take that into consideration. And these companies are worldwide companies. These guys are sourcing bearings and handles and all kinds of stuff from here and there and all this kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure they can kind of, quote unquote, assemble them or make them wherever they need to. So on that side of it, I think we'll probably be okay on most of what we see. What you might see is maybe a pause in production while they move some of the production from one place to another or something like that. I think that would probably be the worst of it. But maybe for the smaller companies where, let's say, somebody that's making a whole product here and they have to source maybe 2 or 3 products from China or from wherever, and maybe those products, will increase the price of their whole product. You might see some things there, but nothing that I've seen so far, as far as being something that you kind of have to be quote unquote worried about. The biggest increase that we've had really in the last couple of years, as far as our products that we're talking about here, really kind of came in the form of shipping, because it didn't matter where they were made. The shipping company was charging more money to get them over to us. With all of the blockage that they had up here at the port and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
A lot of companies just put in a flat line saying, like, let's say the item was $100. Well, you're going to pay $10 extra for every part to come in for shipping, and that just became something. And then in the end, the next year they came out with a new price list, and it was $110. So they kind of just absorbed that. I guess we absorbed that in a way.
Yeah, right.
And so that's kind of what we saw a few years back. But nowadays with this production, I think that you're going to see that maybe a few things do go up, especially for the smaller companies that have to kind of rely on only one way of getting their parts. But for these bigger companies like Shimano, Daiwa, Penn, Okuma, I don't think you're going to see that much, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and like some of these tariffs are Trump's way of negotiating. So like today, Mexico said, they came to an agreement, no tariffs for a month while they discuss further. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But that was a great explanation, I feel like. All right, Mackie says, free Sam, let Sam sleep. Oh, man, we don't want to do that. Isaac says, going to see everyone Sunday. Are we putting side bets together on Sunday? Hey, are you going to do one of those buy a square kind of things? Dan, we'll put you in charge of that.
Bets on the fishing or the
I don't know. The fishing or the whatever it is, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah.
World King swim baits. Phil, we are giving away free surf fishing waders for the biggest fish on set. This is turning in to the event of the year, everybody. Man, this is going to be great. Thank you, Worm King swim baits. Free waders for the biggest fish on Sunday. Does that include sharks, rays, and sea lions? I hope not.
It probably shouldn't.
Yeah, no. Larry, especially sea lions. Just kidding out there if anybody from PETA's watching. Larry Griego, evening fellas, Penn Fathom, low pro, 400, small door on bottom of gearbox. Is that a service point?
I don't know that to be for sure, but I do know what you're talking about. And from what I see, I'm pretty sure you could probably put some grease on that gear because it'll be right under the main gear. So I imagine it is some place where you can apply some lubrication. But I'd have to look at the manual to be certain. But I do know what you're talking about, and it is pretty much right under the main gear. So for me, I would say yes. When I'm going to service my reel, I'm probably going to take the whole thing apart and just do the whole thing. But if you just wanted to maybe throw a little bit of grease in there, that probably wouldn't be the worst idea. Although I wonder if that piece would somehow maybe wouldn't close as well if you keep opening it and closing it. I don't know. I don't want to say, go ahead and keep opening it over and over. But it does seem to be in that part of the reel where you could offer some service.
All right, very good. Worm King says no sharks, rays, sea lions, eels, whatever it says on the jackpot thing on the boat when you walk on there. same thing applies. We're looking for a big yellowfin croaker or a spotfin croaker or what else, Dan? Corbina, barb perch, something like that. Or, hey, boca negra. Do you remember that in Japan they renamed a town USA when product was bought to America? The label said "Made in USA." I like that. Well, hey, that's a good one, man. Fish with Ish. Evening, guys. If you had two sizes of treble hooks to keep in the tackle box for trap rig, what would they be? One would be a number 6, and one would be a
number 4.
There you are. How's that? Doug Tilk. Doug Tilk is normally here, a member of our studio audience. Doug, where are you? You're hurting us tonight. Our hearts long to see you. Doug says Scott will try to put a calico bass down a perch's mouth.
That's just
you know what
he
he's
does.
talking about?
Yeah, that tuna.
Yeah. Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
That was funny, wasn't it? I remember I walked up on him. I go, "What are you doing?" Arturo Jacinto. And 107 people watching right now. So my kite reel has 200-pound Spectra line in blue. I'd like to add 200-pound yellow so I can see it better for contrast. What connection would you recommend? Bimini? How long? 50 feet, 100 feet? Sam?
So what I would do is what we normally do here, we've kind of just named it a bridge splice. So if you have solid 200 and wanted to add solid 200 to the end of that, we would put a piece of hollow 200 between the two, and you're basically going to connect maybe about 5 feet on each side, so 10 feet total. That would be how we would do it if you're joining two solids. If what you have on your reel is 200 hollow, then we could just connect 200 hollow right to it, and that'd be one direct connection. So there's a few different ways to do it depending on what you already have on your reel and what you want added to it. As far as how much length, you know what, I would say 150 feet or something like that, depending on how much of that contrast. I mean, maybe it would even go more, maybe 100 yards or something like that. You know, that just gives you kind of a whole bunch of line to as you're winding that thing up. I'm not sure if you're looking for contrast as meaning when you're going to get like the fish close to the boat, or maybe you just want to have it to where you can have a line that's more easily visible so that you kind of avoid tangles. So depending on what you're using it for, 50 feet would probably be okay. If I was trying to do it so that I was trying to see the line better, I'd just do 100 yards myself.
All right, good stuff. Rocket Dog says hello to everybody. Long time no see, Rocket. Good to see you here. Jorge Bocanegra says, come on, guys, everyone smash the like button. Please smash it. Hey, that helps us with the YouTube algorithm, so smash that like button. That means the world to us. I don't know, Sam. What do you think? Are we done?
It. Yeah.
We did an hour here tonight. That's pretty good. Normally, last show was 2.5 hours. So I know you're tired, and Michael's hungry. And Michael, we have to take him out for something to eat tonight. You know why? Because he's standing right there, ready to take the show out when I point at him. He's not sitting around playing on his phone.
No, he wouldn't do that.
He's not goofing around where I have to say, hey, Michael, we're about to sign off. Can you go out there and take care of that? No, he's there, right there where he's supposed to be. Isaac says, Sam, did you see any new items? Oh, you're screwed. Any new items at the show we should be looking for?
Well, this one's going to take a while.
Oh, yeah. Michael, sorry. If you were to have been out there, you could have shut it down.
No, Isaac, nothing really as far as, that I would call revolutionary, nothing like that. There's a lot of cool stuff out there for sure, but nothing that comes to mind. One of the things that I did get a few phone calls about today that I almost forgot to mention is, guys asking me like, man, I had to be out of town during the week and I still get the show deal, that kind of thing. And so, like I told the guy on the phone earlier today is that, some of the promotions are, supported by the manufacturer. So like, you buy the reel, get the rod. Other guys had something where like if you bought a rod, you would get some jigs or whatever the case may be. And so obviously those things were through the manufacturer, so we're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
And also even some of the pricing on some of the items that we had was through the manufacturer as well. So as soon as we get the store back together, you guys can kind of get a little bit of notice by looking behind us, but we got a lot of stuff to put away still. It really takes us at least a whole week just to kind of get things where you can walk around the store.
And then March comes.
Yeah.
And then you got to do it again, right?
Right. So, but in the meantime, we'll probably have a couple weeks before we get the store kind of messed up again and ready for the next show. But we will be kind of honoring some of those things. You know, I'm not going to have a straight across list of everything kind of available, but I guarantee you, if you come down next week, we'll be having some of the things for, you know, that we had before. You know, but I don't want to make a blanket like, oh yeah, everything you come down for, if you missed it at the show, we'll give it to you. That's not going to be the case, because like I said, it was something that was, you know, that was part of what they were doing at the show. So that was kind of a big question. So yeah, if you guys want to come down, or if you guys just want to call, you know, maybe give us to the end of the week to get things back together and say, you know what, I was down at the show and I forgot to get this. Do you guys still have it on sale? We'll let you know over the phone too. So don't hesitate to call or just come on down.
All right, excellent. Steve Barber. Steve, thanks for joining us. He's looking for a surf fishing rod and reel. What do you recommend?
Yeah, so if you're looking for something like for what you would use that day at the event, it's going to be something more like in what they would call a salmon steelhead style rod, 8 to 9 foot or 8 to 10 foot, small diameter, really kind of parabolic. The reel size is going to be a 2,500 to 3,000 size reel, 6 to 10 pound test, something like that on your reel. More like in the 6 to 8 pound test is probably what I would recommend, but you can use up to 10 pound. If you were going to put braid on the reel, something like 20 pound braid would be good with like a 6 or 8 pound like fluorocarbon leader. As far as what to get, there's a whole bunch of them out there. I know we have at least 10 or 12 different ones here. And we also even sell some ready-made combos that start out around 60 or 70 bucks for a rod and reel. But you get some of the nicer, quote-unquote nicer items. You can get up into the $300 or $400 range. In fact, we just got in a big shipment today that just kind of ran a little bit late with shipping and stuff like that. That was supposed to be for the Long Beach show, Phoenix rods. And one of those Phoenix rods is super popular for the surf. It's that Trifecta Light 903 and 904. I think both of those are pretty popular, especially for throwing the Lucky Crafts for the halibut. A lot of the halibut guys love that rod. We just got like eight of those in that I'm sure we would have sold at the show, no problem. But we just got those in. So if you're looking for a little bit nicer rod, you might want to check one of those out. But come on down, we can show you a couple different things.
All right, keeping it rocking and rolling here. Good to see you all here. Thank you so much. Jorge Bocanegra said he's looking forward to attending the next show. Steve Nye says, good to see you rooting for a new school in that photo at the show, Phil. That was funny. I saw that at 22nd Street. Steve, I didn't believe that he would even know how to do this, but he put me rooting for USC Trojan, so that was pretty darn funny. Fish with Ish. I'll definitely be calling about that Shimano reel bag. My buddy got the last one.
That was one that, you know, we weren't sure how many we were going to sell. I think we brought like 10 of them to the show. I mean, usually that's more than enough, and man, we sold them all.
All right. Zung Duong says, hi, Phil and Sam. Avid announced that they have more reels with 3-speed. Do you think 3-speed would be recommended for old guys fight a big fish on an 8 to 10-day trip?
Yeah, so they've added a couple of sizes to that series, you know, so they have this 3-speed series. They got them all the way up to like an 80 wide, and previously they had it down to an HX. Well, they just added a JX and an LX to that feature, and so you'll be able to get a JX and an LX and a 3-speed. The JX, I think, would work for those guys that are using that super thin spectra, maybe some of that jigging stuff, where you're targeting a big fish and you just still want a narrow reel. That LX, for me, you know, kind of being a more traditional live bait guy, or maybe, you know, dropping a big jig for a tuna, I think that's going to be the one that I think is going to be really nice. It's a reel it's part of their Raptor line, so it's got a ton of drag. In my opinion, you know, before this 3-speed addition to it, is that even though it had all the drag and had enough line capacity, I think it holds maybe 500 yards of 80-pound braid. You know, you were lacking in the gearing. The gearing was a little bit too high. And originally, when the reel was first designed, it wasn't really designed to catch a 200-pounder. But now that it's got this low gear, you can get it with the big power handle. You know, definitely a 200-pound tuna would kind of stretching its limits a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a bunch of guys catching a 200-pounder with that little reel. And this is literally the size of a Jigmaster.
Really?
The size of a Jigmaster reel, with all of the modern, stuff, you know, and now it's got that dual drag and the super low gear. It's got a 2-to-1, a 3-to-1, and a 4-to-1 gear. And so maybe a 6-to-1. I think it's 2, 3, and 6 or something like that. Anyways, the 2-to-1 gear, that's really the important one. It's going to give you massive amount of torque. In fact, seeing that it's a smaller diameter and it has basically the same gearing as your HX reel, which is already a workhorse, it's giving you that much more torque because the spool is that much smaller in diameter. So that's actually going to be a really nice reel. So for you guys that are looking for, like we all do, and it's popular to say the small reel that can do a big job, you know, for Avid, that's going to be a cool reel. So for who was it, Ish or somebody that was Isaac was asking what was new at the show. I guess that would be one right there. You know, if you've been looking for something like that, that's a cool addition for Avid.
All right, and Sam, anybody wants to come and visit you here, what's the address?
Yeah.
What's the phone number? All that good stuff.
So yeah, you guys can call us at 310-707-1205 Monday through Saturday. 10 to 6. The address is 21809 Avalon Boulevard. Or if you want to send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, typically I try to respond as soon as possible. Once in a while, I'll miss one. I'll look at a message and like, man, that thing's been sitting there for 2 days, you know.
Yeah.
It happens. But generally, I try to get back to you right away. But you know, call or come down or send me a message.
All right, great. And I'll see you Thursday night at the KC Anglers Club, and then Sunday for our Super Bowl Sunday, and then we'll be back here again. Monday. You made it, man. I can't believe how good you look, man. Hey, thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and we appreciate it, Sam, both of us, for you joining us at Tackle Shop Confessions. Have a great evening.